Arizona's already a big deal. There's intrigue in Florida. Louisiana and Maryland have to call a timeout. We've got a special guest, and apparently the NFL started this weekend.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Hey USA. I'm Nick Garcia, senior writer for Play USA, and joined with me, as always, Mr. Brant James, lead writer, Play USA. Brant, how are you doing today?
Doing great, doing great. Nice weekend. NFL season started. Feels like everything's calm in the world again, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels fantastic. Football's back. I'm excited. What do we got in store for today?
Well, we're going to double dip on Arizona because Arizona has become quite a big deal. We'll get into some numbers. We're not going to bog you down with it, but our good friends at GeoComply have told us that Arizona comprised 10% of the national sports betting handle over the weekend. Those folks are betting and betting often. They seem to like this. And to flesh this out for us, we're going to bring in CJ Pierre, our man in Arizona at Play AZ. And he's going to tell us what it's like out there and just what the crackle is out in the desert.
Loving it. Loving it. So before we get to the goodness that is Arizona, we got a few state updates. Brant, can you fill us in? Let's start with Florida. What's going on there?
Yeah, Florida is getting down into the negotiation nitty-gritty between the Seminole tribe and the pari-mutuel outlets. It's unbelievable as I'm looking at my calendar there. We're about a month and a couple of days before sports betting is supposed to launch in Florida. There's a lot of skepticism about whether it really will because there's lawyers involved. But what's going on in Florida now, I was able to confirm with a couple of the pari-mutuel outlets, specifically Tampa Bay Downs, which is a thoroughbred horse racing track in the Tampa area, and Palm Beach Kennel Club. They've already begun negotiations with the Seminole tribe because they're interested in bringing retail and online sports betting to their facilities. It would be branded through Hard Rock Digital. Not to get too deep into legalese, but the compact between the Seminoles and Florida requires that they operate, or that they negotiate in good faith with 3 operators. It appears they at least are doing that, and they have to do this by the 15th. And if they do sign deals, they have to offer the same deals to the other pari-mutuel outlets. One of those pari-mutuel outlets is currently suing them, saying that the compact is illegal. So I don't think that outlet will be trying to get it. But the very bottom line of all of this is if the courts deem that the compact is illegal and that the Seminoles can't keep their servers on tribal land, then offer sports betting statewide, then the deal with the pari-mutuels is over, and the Seminoles still get to have the retail sports books, and the pari-mutuels who have been at odds with the Seminoles and are oddly now negotiating with them are out in the cold. Florida.
Well, it doesn't get cold there all the time in Florida, so that'll be a first, right?
Well, I don't want to over dramatize it because I know you Illinois guys feel like it gets cold, but sometimes it gets into like the high 50s in February here, and we have to cover up the pineapples. But 2 more updates down in this area, Louisiana. Obviously, a lot of tragedy in Louisiana with Hurricane Ida. Not the biggest news in the state there, but they've had to push back their sports betting licensing about 10 days, maybe early October before they can do anything. And Maryland looks like they are punting, pun intended, all the way into 2022. They not only are not going to make the beginning of the NFL season, they're hoping to make the Super Bowl because they have a lot of rules to go through. And my native state has said, we're going to get it right, hopefully, and we're going to wait. So
bad news there.
Maryland's going to be a while.
All right. So there you have it. We got Florida, still questions up in the air. We got Louisiana, maybe a 10-day delay October, but still coming this year.
Supposedly, yes, as of now.
Supposedly, yes. And then Maryland, the sad news. Not only did the Washington football team lose, not only did the University of Maryland lose, but now sports betting all the way to 2022. Ouch.
It's a sad time in the old line state. Yeah. But you know where it's really happy? Arizona.
Not only did sports betting launch, but wow, did the Cardinals look good. But I think we should bring our native there, CJ Pierre.
Let's bring him in. Let's see if our reach can extend to our boots on the ground in Arizona and bring in CJ Pierre.
I know that he's got some good stuff for you listeners and viewers out there. So with that, let's bring him aboard.
CJ Pierre, Play AZ, thank you for joining us. How's the weather in Arizona?
It's hot. It's hot. Like sports betting down here is. It's hot.
Oh, oh, that was a very good segue. Well, we
Was.
we saw you were out at what was it, Chase Field with the Caesars opening sports book there. Just give us a vibe. Just looking at some of the numbers we've seen, it seems like Arizona's into this.
Yeah, man, it's kind of crazy. So, kicking off at Chase Field, they brought out JB Smoove, the comedian, Trey Wingo, who is a chief entertainment officer there for Caesars now, and he's doing kind of Trey's trends for Caesars, and just coming out of Chase Field and seeing the temporary sports book that they have set up. They just kind of right next to the ticket window there. People can come down there, place their bets. Now, like I said, it's temporary. They're doing their big shebang. They're changing the Game 7 grill, which is a popular spot right outside Chase Field, and they're changing that into the big sports book. It's going to be sports book bar and grill, basically entertainment venue. But then later that day, FanDuel opened up their sports book inside Footprint Center, the home of the Phoenix Suns and the Mercury. And they had Richard Jefferson and Channing Frye, both alums of the University of Arizona, to kind of set that whole thing off. And that place is up and running. It's not a temporary spot. It's a luxury spot, luxury seating. You can get, food, drinks, all that. They're really trying to make sports betting here into not just a gambling thing. They're trying to make it like a recreational activity, something that you can do with your friends, something that you can do with your family even.
Nice.
And it's really something that I think they're trying to modernize it in a way. And I think that's something people are taking to.
Can you get into the Footprint Center Sportsbook if there's not a game?
Yeah, it's open every day. Even if there isn't a game, you don't need to have a ticket to get in there. And that's one of the unique things about it. I think people weren't really sure what to expect. They were like, "Oh, is it only going to be for Suns games?" That sort of thing. But no, it's open to the public. You can go in there, and you don't have to like pay a cover charge or anything like that. Don't have to spend $100 on a ticket just so you can get inside. It's open just like any restaurant or bar would be, and I think that's great for Arizona, and especially if people who are new to the sports betting game.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So full-fledged retail, full-fledged mobile for people there. Do we have an idea of like how many apps are up and running right now, like that we're able to bet on this Sunday?
So I would say that for my best guess as of right now, I believe there are 6 or 7. I'd have to try and go through the list, but I'm pretty sure there are about 6 or 7 online apps that are live right now. And as far as retail, just the 2 so far, the one at Chase Field and the one at Footprint Center for in-person betting. So 6 or 7 apps. Most people probably only have 1 or 2 on their phone. So to have 7 options to bet on, just from the comfort of your own home, that's nice to have. And I think people in Arizona are happy about it.
Well, one of the big national players that's not there yet and thought they were is PointsBet. Just quickly, what was the weirdness that happened with them, and what's the process of them getting back in?
Yeah, that's something that we're all still trying to figure out. They thought that they were ready to go and had their ducks in a row, and kind of at the last minute they were like, it's kind of hold up. We're not going to be ready for the launch. I think they're trying to get it up as soon as possible to really estimate a timeline. Not really sure. I think there are some red tape, if you will, to go through with the Arizona Department of Gaming that they're still trying to work through, that some of the other, their competitors, probably already had figured out. But granted, this is a fast moving process. This thing just kind of happened like that. So, to have all your ducks in a row, if you will, it's not, there were expected to be some hiccups for some people. We weren't expecting this launch to just go off without a hitch, because everything just got tied together so fast. There were those lawsuits that are kind of hanging over this thing, prior to that, by the Yavapai Prescott Indian tribe. And so there are a lot of roadblocks, if you will, in terms of this launch. So it got off, I think, to a great start, better than what people expected. But there were still going to be some hiccups along the way. And PointsBet, unfortunately, they're a little behind the 8 ball. But hopefully they'll come back. People in Arizona love those promos, so if they come back strong with those, they should be able to catch up.
So, how about you give the listeners, what are a few things that you're watching as we just finished week 1, as we're heading into week 2? What are some things that you're eyeing, that you're looking on, that you're working on?
All right. Well, for Play AZ, we got Arizona Cardinals with a big upset win in Tennessee. So they were definite underdogs in that sense. A lot of prop bets for Kyler Murray coming up this week, and I'm sure after his performance. So we'll be looking at that. Some Kyler Murray props. Looking at the lines with the home opener, and then I'll actually be live at State Farm Stadium for the home opener, and so I'll be kind of have my eye out, see what people are doing. It's the first out of the major sports, first pro sports event in Arizona since sports betting has gone live. That'll be here. The Diamondbacks were on the road. I'm not sure. I think they're still on the road. I probably have to check on the Diamondbacks. But for the Cardinal season opener, sports betting, I'll check and see if people are on their phones.
Nice.
What's going to be happening during those commercial breaks? Are people going to be trying to, make bets on the next drive and those sort of things? So I'll be out there and keep an eye on that. ASU's got a big game coming up, ranked versus ranked against BYU. They'll be on the road, so there'll be a preview on that. And little nugget, probably more so for Arizonans, but Northern Arizona, which is the FCS team that a lot of people like and follow, they'll actually be playing the U of A in Tucson. So it'll be the rare times that an FCS school will be on the betting lines on sports apps. So I expect, I haven't taken a look at the money line for them yet. I expect them to be very heavy underdogs, but Jacksonville State beat Florida State this past weekend. So you never
remind me. Don't remind me.
Oh,
are you going to be doing any live tweeting? Are you going to be checking that out?
Yeah. I'll be live tweeting from the Cardinals game.
Okay.
For sure. So if you want to take a look at that, you can catch me at Real CJ Sports, at Real CJ Sports on Twitter. And then over the course of the week, I'll be posting different stuff that's going on with playaz.com.
Beautiful.
It's interesting. I think that this was a great weekend for the customers, the new customers out there, especially dabblers who maybe hadn't bet before, because they download app of choice. Of course, they're going to hammer the Cardinals. And then the Cardinals pull off the upset, and they've got to be thinking, this is so easy. And the sports book somewhere way back in one of the deep rooms has got to be going, oh, we just paid out all those promos, and then,
man, and
this just happened.
Funny story.
Yes, funny story.
So,
yeah.
The Caesars had a promo for Kyler Murray, and I think the payout was plus 295 or something like that for him to go over 300 in passing and rushing yards, and he got it. And right away, for a lot of people, it was all over social media, Caesars had added that the bet was lost initially. So there were a lot of people freaking out, like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
All that stuff. And then eventually they took the loss off. They, took the slip. Everyone had it back in their slips, and then they eventually paid it back out. But it took about 2 hours for that to happen. So I think there are a lot of people upset with that. I think there were just, some technical glitches in certain areas. DraftKings, I know, had some slow payouts with, I know there were a lot of prop bets on Sam Darnold that there were some boosts for that their payouts. But yeah, a lot of those boosts take care of. But I mean, when you have odds like, Tampa Bay Buccaneers on opening night plus 73, for first timers, that's something people are going to definitely want to jump on.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the Cardinals, a lot of prop bets got paid out. So a lot of people are high on the Cardinals. They're going to be looking forward to next week. I expect sports books to kind of maybe lean a little heavier. So I think one of the promos will probably be, can Kyler Murray score 5 touchdowns? That sort of thing.
Physically,
so that's what I expect.
Yeah.
I would love to know how many cell phones were thrown during that Caesars glitch. Yeah. But you just said something that leads me into something we wanted to talk about, was not to get too nerdy for the folks who don't care, but there's a company called GeoComply. Their job is to make sure that when someone places a bet on a phone, that they're in a state where it's legal. So, for example, they do these wonderful maps. They're like screensavers. Where we've seen them in New Jersey, and we actually have one in Arizona. I'd like to put it in this video where you'll see, like in the New York one, there'll be a guy in Central Park trying to make a bet in New Jersey, and he's got a little red pin. That means he's denied. But that company put out a press release today. Arizona was number 4 nationally in the amount of money bet in the first NFL weekend. 10%. 10% of the bets in this country this weekend were from Arizona. And I know that's giddy newness, but there's about 7 million people, I think, ish in Arizona, and like all but like 5 of them, I think, live in the Phoenix area. But I mean, pound for pound, New Jersey's its own beast. 9.4 million. You got a lot of commuters. I mean, they're going to be the king. Pennsylvania was in second, 13 million. Michigan in third, 10 million people. That's pound for pound. Arizona punching above its weight, even for like a giddy new kid.
Yeah. So, I mean, you keep in mind, the betting is not new for people in Arizona. Las Vegas is only like a 4.5-hour drive away. So people in Arizona, they've done this. They've made the trip to Vegas just so they can place their bets. Particularly during the Phoenix Suns recent run, you can count how many people just made trips to Vegas just to place $1 on the Phoenix Suns win the NBA championship. Now, unfortunately, those didn't get paid out, but sports betting is not a new phenomenon for people in Arizona. It's something people have wanted for a long time. So the fact that they're up there in the top 5 did not surprise me at all. It's something that I expect to kind of stay the same and potentially even grow. More people are moving to Arizona, as we speak. I don't expect that to fall off anytime soon, if at all.
Nice.
Speaking of Vegas and GeoComply, not to belabor, did you see the video that GeoComply put on YouTube of the first hour or two when they threw the big switch and sports betting went live in Arizona?
I did not see that.
Okay, I really want to. Hopefully, we can put it up in this video because first of all, these things are like soothing screensavers, I guess, especially if you own a sports book, because these little Google pins come down, and like a red one means denied, and a green one means Samsung, and a white one means iPhone, and there's a yellow one that means tablet for whatever. So they show the first couple of hours, and there's just these gentle little pins, and like early morning, these 12, midnight, these gentle little pins are falling down. And like in the first 15 minutes, a pin drops in the middle of Grand Canyon National Park. And I'm thinking, my man, the guy, there's somebody in the Grand Canyon making a bet. And I hope they got a screen cap of that, because that's awesome.
Oh my gosh, it's fantastic.
It's fantastic. But at the same time, the map has Vegas, and these 3 red ones go bang, bang, bang. I'm like, what are you doing? You're in Vegas. In Arizona. Anyway, that's what I do instead of going to the movies. I watch.
No, it's all good. I think there will be a lot of people, like people who make that commute to Vegas just to place down bets. Now they can just do it, from their couches, from their beds. Checking if their wife's sleeping. That sort of thing. I mean, there's going to be a lot of that going on. I think the biggest change you'll see is come March Madness, because March Madness is really that time where people are just like crazy, like school teachers even are trying to place bets, getting into brackets and doing whatever. March Madness, I think, will be probably one of those big shifts, because people from Arizona flock to Vegas for March Madness. Like it is like a yearly thing that people
ritual
do. Is that going to continue? Now, I've obviously Vegas is Vegas. Arizona's not going to turn into like a little mini Las Vegas, but there might be people who just, instead of, making the trip just for the sake of placing a bet, they can just say, hey, if I want to, bet on ASU to make it to the Final Four, I can just do it from here. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to make the 4.5-hour drive, use up all this gas to try and make a $5 bet, and you can just do it right here using DraftKings, FanDuel, Barstool Sports, Caesars, WinBet, everything.
Yes.
4.5 hours. That's like Scottsdale to Avondale during rush hour. I mean, honestly. Phoenix folk love a long drive, or hate a long drive, but they're used to a long drive.
The long drive in itself is they're used to, which is why the sports betting in itself is, nothing new. People go to Vegas, I would say the average Arizonan, and I'm just speculating here, but I would say the average Arizonan has at least been to Vegas to place a bet at least once in their lives, and that's on the low end. Like if we're just talking the average person has at the very least spent some money in Vegas. So sports betting is something that people here have been clamoring for years. It's the fact that it's up and running and going this hot. expect that number to jump this coming week, especially after the Cardinals perform so well. I would definitely will be seeing a lot of people hammering the money line for the Cardinals this week, to my own chagrin as a Minnesota Vikings fan, and our disappointment this past weekend. I think it's going to be a fun atmosphere. I think this coming week at State Farm Stadium, it's going to, people are, high up, football's back. So there's always that new football back energy. People foaming at the mouth because they feel like they haven't seen a football game in years.
They kind of haven't.
Well, there's that good point. I mean, with the pandemic and everything. So that's another thing. So, this game, I expect the crowd to be rowdy. I expect people to be all into it. I'm excited to see what the Cardinals do in the stadium to kind of, push that out, because they're putting together their own sports book that won't be open until sometime next year. But as far as like in the stadium, like what are they going to have on the screens? What kind of ads are going to be in by the scoreboard? Those sort of things. I'm interested to see how that's going to go. Are they going to show how often will they show highlights from other games? During the pauses, that sort of thing. So I'm interested to see all that. So it's going to be a fun time.
That's good. That's good. Well, here's hoping you don't see anything nasty peeping at people's phones to see if they're betting.
Oh boy, I'm wondering if the guy next to me, if he'll be placing a large bet on Kyler Murray to throw 3 touchdowns, or I expect a lot of parlays on the game.
Yeah.
But if you want a little tidbit advice, Kyler Murray and that defense is running wild. So if you want to look at sack prop bets, Cardinals defense against that porous Minnesota offensive line, that might be where you want to go. And that's, as a Vikings fan, I'm saying if you want to pound the over on sack totals for the Cardinals, that's where you want to. That's
the game to do it.
Put your money down. Yep, this is where it's coming.
Unless Brand has anything else, I believe this might actually be a good segue into what me and Brant do every week is our Nick and Brant's picks of the week.
Yeah, and I think he already made one of his.
Yeah, I was hoping that maybe CJ could lend us a hand.
Sure,
CJ,
no problem.
What me and Brant do each week, or what we're doing over the course of the season, is we're going to do just 3 playful bets that we're watching. I was thinking that we could give our bets, and then you could give us our input on whether you like it or dislike it, or if we're just fooling ourselves if it can actually come true. Brant, you want to start this week?
Yeah, I'll start. Looking at the Browns, 12-point favorites at home against the Texans. Now, I don't think there is any debate that the Browns are an extremely talented football team and more talented than the Texans, but I think there is a large body of evidence that this is an extremely dumb football team, and I think they did some dumb things this past weekend, from punching running back coaches to whatever Baker Mayfield thought he was going to get away with, like he used to do at Oklahoma when there weren't professional players on the other end. So I think the Texans are going to keep it pretty close against the Browns. I think 12 is a little high.
Okay.
That is an interesting one, because I think the Texans the Texans shocked a lot of people, I think, this past weekend. I don't think anyone expected them to even beat Jacksonville. Now, I think that's just more the Trevor Lawrence mystique, that everyone thought he was just going to come save Jacksonville and they were going to become this, powerhouse of a franchise. But I think the Browns are going to come out firing. I think they're going to be upset OBJ didn't play on Sunday. So I think that'll play a factor. If he comes back healthy, I like the Browns big. Houston is still, they still have their own holes. There was against Jacksonville. How impressive can you take it?
Yeah.
I like, if I'm a Browns fan, I'm taking that bet, and I'll give the points.
All right, Brant, what other 2 you got?
All right, the Bears are 2.5 consensus at home against the Bengals. It seems. I admit, this is just the power of momentum in both directions. Jamar Chase appears like he can catch an NFL football. It looks like the Bengals are going to maybe do what they always do and get the locals' hopes up for a month or so before the bottom falls out. I think the Bears are like a Malibu beach house in kind of a a little rock slide. I think it's just going to go. I'm liking the Bengals. I'm liking the Bengals versus the Bears.
I'm going to add to that one. The Bengals are plus 145 at DraftKings. I mean, I think the Bengals steal one from the Bears at Soldier Field.
You're so hurt and angry. You're already turning on your own.
Already turning on my own team.
I'm with you guys. As long as Andy Dalton is starting at quarterback for the Bears, I think Bears fans are going to be in for a rough opening couple of weeks. It's only a matter of time before Justin Fields starts. Now, if Justin Fields were the starting quarterback, I would feel completely different about that. But as it stands, Andy Dalton starting quarterback, I'm with you guys. I like the Bengals.
All right. Last one, Brant. What do you got?
All right. Watching the Seahawks this weekend, feels like Shane Waldron's going to have that proper balance, offense enough to keep Pete Carroll at bay with the pound the rock kind of game. Russell Wilson, I could almost hear symphony music when he was just throwing the ball to Lockett. I think things are going to be okay there. So I found Super Bowl win for the Seahawks plus 1,600 at DraftKings. And as much as I don't like tying up my my cryptocurrency long term like that, yeah, why not? Why not?
At those odds, I like it. I mean, the Seahawks. I mean, they play in a tough division, so I think that's
the hardest.
That's probably the hang up for people if they're trying to put any money on any team from the NFC West. But I mean, at those odds, I mean, I don't think that's anything to sneeze at. I think that's a tasty little number that you can put some money down on. So I'm not mad. I think the Seahawks can easily be Super Bowl contenders.
Nice. Well, you guys know my Bengals bet. The other one I'm looking at is Dallas plus 130 over the Chargers. Now, let me stake my case to this. The Chargers had little hiccups, always first game of the season, but Dallas against Tampa Bay looked like they were in mid-season form. I think that team could only get better. I feel like that's might be a shootout game, and I think Dak Prescott won't let the Cowboys lose another shootout. I think they get it done over the Chargers.
So that's a tough one for me because I am all in on Justin Herbert. If my futures bets, I've got Herbert as the MVP this year. I think he's got as much talent as any quarterback that's in the league right now. And he gutted it out against probably the best defense in the league on Sunday in Washington. And, they came out with a win. I mean, obviously Fitzpatrick got hurt, so you have to take that into account. Is Dallas's defense really that good? Is Dallas really that good? Look at how Ezekiel Elliott played. I mean, Dak's great. I love Dak. But the Chargers defense, they played, lights out, I think, over this past weekend. That's a tough one for me. I would go with the Chargers. But I do think it's going to be a shootout, so I would pound the over. Nice. If anything else.
The last one I have right now at DraftKings, the Rams are -4 against the Colts. I saw what magic Matthew Stafford did last night. So
-4.
Yeah. I mean, like it is again, we still got one more week left, but DraftKings.
Are they on the road? Is that what this is?
It's in Indy.
It's in Indy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Not a fun first two games for the Colts, by the way, even with them being at home.
Oh my gosh. I feel like these are the kind of times where I feel like the odds makers are trying to trick us, or they're trying to pull one over on us, because after seeing what happened on Sunday, I would take the Rams. I think they should be like almost double-digit favorites against the Colts personally. Yeah. So I mean, but then again, I've always said if the money is going one way, if all the money is going one way, that means you need to go the other way. So, but I have a hard time not expecting the Rams to beat the Colts by at least a touchdown.
Yeah.
So and maybe like 30.
I just the Colts they do not look cohesive on offense.
Is T.Y. Hilton going to be back?
That's a question mark too.
Carson Wentz is still the quarterback.
And that's tough for me to say too, because I covered Carson when he was in high school, so I know him a little well. And but the Colts just offensively, they do not seem like they are much of a threat, and the Rams are an explosion waiting to happen every time Stafford has the ball in his hands. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm a little worried about the Rams running game, if anything. So that's probably the only hiccup. But I mean, that defense and that offense, that passing game, at least, I I see Rams big.
Yeah. Just so it's on the record, our picks for last week.
He's big about counting. I thought this was going to go away.
No, I'm with you. I like receipts.
I had the Houston and Jacksonville under. That didn't hit. I did have the Bengals over the Vikings. And then I had a rookie 3-leg parlay that only one of them got in the end zone. That was Jamar Chase. And then on Brandt's side, he had the Bucks -7. He had the Dolphins over the Patriots. And then he had the Chiefs to score 5 touchdowns. They only got 4. So we're both 1 and 2 going in week 2. With that, Brandon, is there anything else? I mean, what do we got left?
No, I just like to thank CJ for coming on and pretty much doing all of it this week. Maybe what are you doing next week, man?
Hey, I'm free, man. I'm good to go. I'm new to the game, but I'm learning quick. So if you guys want me, every week, or if you guys want me every other week, I'm game.
All right. Well, you're out there, the new gambling center of the universe. So we're gonna have to keep your phone line on speed dial.
Yeah, no problem at all.
With that, everyone, thanks again. This has been a wonderful episode of Hey USA. Again, I'm with Brandt, CJ Pierre, Play AZ. Go check his workout. It's great. Like, follow, and subscribe. With that, you know what to do.